Good evening and welcome to the Tuesday, November 18th meeting of the Transportation Committee. We have many of the committee members here as well as several members of staff. So first order of business is call the meeting to order. Second order, we have minutes from October 21st. I don't know if everybody's read those. Any comments, concerns on those?
Yep.
Seeing none, motion to approve.
I make a motion that we accept the minutes.
I'll second it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, minutes adopted. So we'll jump right into our committee discussions. The first, we had received a concern from the Peak Hill neighborhood, and Amy's got that up on the screen, and it was kind of late in the season for us, attaching tube counters to the road. We're looking at some other options for other ways to collect data feedback, so we did put the traffic counters out. It was quite rainy, cold weather, so one of them peeled up midweek. The other one did happen to stay down, so we do have kind of mixed data, but we did want to get out there ahead of it to start collecting some data. But we had concerns about one speeding in the neighborhood. It's a street off of Creek Street that there is no connection off it, and the second was some signage that I think we need to look at and discuss. So with that, I'll turn it over to Amy to provide the data input.
Sure. So like Mark mentioned, initially we put two sets of counters down. The first was on Cliffview Drive, and those are the counters that peeled up only after a couple days. The small amount of data that we were able to collect, the speed limit in this neighborhood is 25 miles an hour. So the 85th percentile speed we were able to collect for Cliffview Drive was 27 miles an hour, and an ADT of 277 vehicles. The other set of counters which stayed down was on Peak Hill Drive. Again, speed limit's 25 miles an hour. We had an 85th percentile speed of 24 miles an hour and an ADT of 179 vehicles. So we have that data now as a little bit of a baseline. And then I believe the intersection that we needed to look at for signage is this one here. So let me see if I can pull it up on Google Maps to give you an idea of what's there now.
So this was put in years ago.
I know it goes out to Creek, but does it go?
It does not currently.
So anybody speeding's somebody in the neighborhood.
Yep, so
Yeah.
anybody internal.
Right.
This particular intersection, so you can see there are stubs to the property to the south, so it's been many years. This is an older neighborhood, but there is thoughts someday that may connect into a neighborhood, to the
Yep.
south. Currently, it does not. It just, dead ends at, you can see a hammerhead at one end, and it's just a dead end at the other. But currently, there is no signage at that four-way intersection. So I think, I don't think we're aware of any accidents, but since it was highlighted to us, I think it's something we should at least look at with no signage in that, whether yield or stop signs at that four-way intersection. So we're talking 100 and something cars a day going through there, so it's not a high volume. But this is Peak Hill and Littlewood. So Amy, if you want to talk through since you've got the screen up.
Sure. Okay, so yes, here's the cul-de-sac just to orient you. So I think we were considering adding stop signs at maybe a two-way stop sign, just to provide some clarity to the intersection. Right now, this is a dead end, but like Mark was saying, there's always the potential that the parcel below gets developed and then the road ends up connecting. As far as where the stop signs would go, a two-way stop sign, I think since we have kind of a straightaway here, and this is where we're anticipating a bit more of the volume to come from, that we would, if we were going to do two-way, we might put them on Littlewood. But there's also the possibility that the amount of traffic is just so equally matched that we could potentially look at a four-way stop at some point. I don't know if there's anything else that you would want to add or have questions about.
What is the problem we're trying to solve here?
We've heard, there was concerns, and there was a neighbor meeting about, additional traffic in the area. There's a group home going into the neighborhood, which I think has raised concerns about new traffic being introduced to the neighborhood, additional people coming in and out, which then raised concerns of potential of speeds. We got some background data, so we understand that before and after. And then the second was concerns about signage within the neighborhood. So I don't have anything specific of an accident or anything else. Maybe it's, at this point, it's a let's monitor and see what happens and then react at that point. This neighborhood, I don't know, we have to look at the dates of the homes, but I think they date back to the 70s, 80s at least. So it's been here for quite a while and has functioned to date as it is. So I don't know if, I think there's a concern of what could be coming. I say I don't know of any accidents that have happened in that area. The neighbors can obviously continue to, share with us if something, different happened, but I think it's just some concerns about, the change to the neighborhood and what might happen with the
So
group home that comes out.
There hasn't been any accident history here?
I can double check the clear crash data
And you
viewer,
said
but
the ADT here is what?
on Peak Hill, it is 179. That's what we recorded.
Where on Peak Hill?
So just up from that, so in the middle.
Yeah, so this is off of Creek, we have Cliffview, and then we had the counters down here on Peak Hill.
I would suggest we watch it and see how the development goes and see what changes occur. Investing in an infrastructure for that right now doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me on a what if.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
If we don't have any data to support, like if we had an accident history or something like that, that would be one thing, but we don't have anything. I understand the concerns. If the group home is coming in, that could change the traffic patterns. It could change the character. If that's the case, then we should look at it again. But at this point, I don't see a need to go and put signs up.
I agree.
Whatever else.
Yep.
Tim?
Yep, it looks like it. Where's this group home going to go here?
That corner parcel right there.
Oh, right there, so it's,
Yeah.
okay, so they're going to take that home down just to convert it from a residential to some.
don't
So it's
think
not going to be
I don't
real
know how they're
big.
converting it, but
I
it's
don't
going to
think
be
they're taking the
there.
house down. I think they're just converting it.
Oh, so it's not gonna be real big, like-
Looking at
There's no
adding
additional
a
property.
driveway to it, so we've
Yeah,
got to look at
that's-
how does that impact, and if they ask for a loop driveway, or how does that, connect in?
Right, and where's the driveway going to be?
They're looking for a driveway off of Peak Hill as well, so.
Can you speak into the microphone, please? Thanks.
The application is put in for a horseshoe driveway on Peak Hill in front of the house around that tree that's right there.
Yeah, I would say it's not a no, but it's, at this point, we don't have enough data to support it. So let the development happen, then revisit it.
Committee's in agreement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I say we collected background data, we can do that again come springtime. We wanted to get ahead of anything coming in to kind of get that baseline of how many cars, how fast, and then obviously we can see if there is a change from what that happens, then come back and we'll pick it up again if need be. Okay. So next item, Terrell Drive. This has been a few years since it's been before us. So if anybody's not aware, this is the road behind the Eastway Wegmans. This used to come up more frequently before they added the left turn arrow coming off of Bay onto Empire. There never was a left arrow there, so there was a lot of cut-through traffic on Terrell. I think now that that left arrow's in, I think it's gotten less. But we did have a request for a no-through sign as well, no-through traffic sign, as well as questions regarding speed humps with that. So let Amy
Yeah.
walk through both of those.
Yeah, so we had looked at this street last year in 2024 due to a different speeding complaint. So at that time, we had done some traffic data collection and analysis. The speed limit here is 25, and the speeds are fairly high with an 85th percentile speed of 36 miles an hour. The problem with speed humps at this location, as we discussed at our previous meeting, is that Kirkland, Midland, and Terrell are all parallel. So putting speed humps on Terrell would just push traffic to the other parallel streets.
And because of that, it doesn't meet our recommendations for speed humps.
Correct.
Like as a town, our
Yeah,
policy.
That's right.
exactly. So I think this resident was asking for maybe an alternative solution. They were asking for like no through traffic signs. We did look at the MUTCD on this, and there's no official no through traffic signage in the MUTCD. It would only apply like if there was ongoing construction on the road. And since it's not in the MUTCD, I don't believe it's enforceable. So I did speak with this resident and kind of listened to his concerns and walked him through options that we've looked at previously and our previous discussions and conclusions. And we did talk about the no through traffic sign, and he kind of agreed in the end that if it's not enforceable, it probably wouldn't be a worthwhile investment. So I did tell him that I would pass along a request to monitor the street to the county sheriff's office. So I can pass that along to you tonight. Thank you.
Consider it
And I did, just taking notes. And I did pull the, based on our data from last year, I did pull the best times to enforce. It looks like the highest, the times of highest speed are weekdays around the evening rush hour, what you would expect. On the weekends, it looks like it's more around the lunch time, 12 to 2. So I will pass those along. And definitely this is a street to keep an eye on and continue monitoring.
So I think we've already kind of talked to the resident, shared back with them, but as it came in at a request, wanted to bring it back to the committee as well as the greater public that, we still are, looking at it. We'll continue to monitor and evaluate as we do in any other street. Okay. So the next item, this came before the committee at our last meeting. So there's a request in Penfield Gardens, the Brentwood Willowhurst for stop signs. So our takeaway from the last meeting was to have DPW go out and do some trimming on that. Bob, if you want to kind of update us on that a little bit.
Yeah, so we trimmed back on Willowhurst side, the shrubs that were blocking the view of the intersection. We trimmed them back as far as we could to the point where if we go any further, they'll be pretty much junk. They will never green back up, but all the ones on the left side there, we trimmed all them back. So.
And then most recently you went out to, we got a subsequent comment about Kenmont and
we did the
Anderson
same
at the same
on-
time, and that just happened, I think, Thursday, Friday this past week.
Yes, Thursday or Friday last week we did those, and there again, we took them back as far as we could to the point where if we go any further, there's just going to be brown sticks with hardly any green on them. If they still feel that that's not enough, then we'll have to get in front of the board and see if they want to remove them entirely. That'll be the next step. We've gone back as far as we can without removing them. All them little ones right there, and the bushier ones on the left there. So they're all in the right of way, but like I said, if you go back too much more than what we've done, they'll never green back up.
And I know, Sarah, you went out there today to take a look at the,
Well, so I did want to share, we, as a committee, did receive a petition for the Willowhurst and Brentwood intersection for a stop sign request, just because a fair number of residents in the area were having that concern. So we wanted to acknowledge receiving that petition. Amy and I went out today to look at the bushes that are still there. And I think we need to move forward with measuring the actual site distance and make a determination if we need to wait until the leaves are back on the bushier parts and not the arborvitae, as that doesn't seem to be a concern. And then also measure that site distance to know definitively if further measures would be necessary.
So since things were just trimmed last week, we haven't had the chance to go out and actually do the distance measurements, see if there is sufficient site distance in the area. Obviously, if we go to the level of removing the trees, that would improve site distance. Whether the town board wants to take that action or go to that level, that'd be beyond our recommendation, but that could be part of our recommendation back to the town board at the end of this is, given the trees and the lack of site distance, stop signs may be warranted, or vegetation could be removed altogether to increase site distance, and then, let the town board, make the decision from there. But we'll do the math first and do our measurements and just see where we are and what, would qualify under existing conditions. So that's on us. Engineering department's got to follow up on that. So since last week, the vegetation was just trimmed back. We haven't had the chance to go out and do that yet. So just wanted to provide an update to the committee, an update to the public. Petition was received, committee was provided that. The town board, I think, was also provided that, petition, but we need to go and obviously do our measurements, calculations, and make sure and see what, actually exists in the field first. So I would recommend, at least at this point, tabling it if the committee is okay with that tonight.
That's fine.
So just one thing, Bob, both legs of the intersection, all that is in the right of way? Both legs, okay.
And really in the Brentwood and Willowhurst intersection right here, the angle that it's harder to see from is coming from the west into that Brentwood intersection. It's hard to see up north and if a vehicle's coming. So coming on Willowhurst in either direction, you have a stop sign. It's just seeing around to
Right.
know if it's safe to go is the difficulty.
I don't think you have much choice. If you don't have the sight lines, you don't have a sight triangle there, you have a sight distance issue, you're going to have to remove the bushes.
That'll be beyond our committees. I mean, that'll be our recommendation, is if either take the bushes out or we may have to add additional signage. We'll leave that up to the town board, but from our committee, we'll make our recommendation and let the board make their decision from there. So if everybody's okay, we'll table it tonight and then come back with additional information at our next meeting, and then
Yep,
we can make our recommendation to the town board and
I agree.
how best to proceed. Okay. So we've got two items under other jurisdictions. So we had a request from the Pine Creek neighborhood. So they're on the other side or at the end of Watson at 441. I believe there was a recent incident where somebody drove through the end of that intersection. There's a traffic light there, if you're familiar with it. T intersection, somebody drove through, the end of the street. So we shared that on with the DOT. The DOT obviously responded back. They're looking at additional signage. Somebody asked about doing guardrails. They're not meant for someone driving through the end of the street. I think there was some inebriation involved in the incident, so I don't think
was going to ask if they were drunk. Okay.
helps as well, or some, some substance, something facilitated with that. So I think they're going to look at some additional signage there to make it clear that, it's a choice left or right.
Is there an arrow, like, how some of the streets you come out on, from like City View on to,
Yep, there is a smaller one now. I think they're going to make a larger one or, enhance that
light it up? I don't know.
there now. So again,
Thinking lights.
this is outside of our purview. We
Yeah, it's not us, it's New York State.
did share it under the state DOT, just letting everybody know the state did respond. They said they would follow up. They did respond back to the resident that had the question, and then as well as we'll be taking, some appropriate actions.
Okay.
Is there street lighting there?
I believe
Yeah, it
there's a
looks like it.
mast
Right.
arm one.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think on that pole,
Yeah,
there's
there's one.
mast arm on that
There's
side, whether there's
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's another mast arm on that other corner.
Okay.
I drive that intersection quite a bit, and it's lit up pretty good.
Yeah. I would expect it to be, but just wanted to confirm.
Yeah, if there's other contributing factors. Okay. The next one was a request from Schutz Apple Farm for a crosswalk across Plank Road.
What, are they nuts? To go,
So they have people you pick and
I
other
know they
stuff
do.
on the other side of the road. So this, again, went to the county DOT. This is their jurisdiction. We do have a sidewalk project that is planned for next year for sidewalks on the south side of Plank Road. So they basically said without a designated location, sidewalk, crosswalk wouldn't be warranted at this time. So in our approval, they're still looking at the approval, we will, look at and see if there's an option or a spot that makes sense. So again, that'll be up to the county to look and approve. There is the hill that as you come over Schutz, you kind of come down, so there is some sight distance stuff there. So again, that's through the county, but it does have a little tie-in to the town as we're doing sidewalks in there. If the county did approve a location or have a spot or something that made sense, we could provide a stub that, would cross to the other side, so.
So I have some personal knowledge and done a couple details for the Apple Farm themselves, and put a few deputies out there for these things, and some sort of way to slow people down in this area would be highly advised. I know it's not up to this committee, but that would be my recommendation for sure. They've gone so far as to do a payback to the sheriff's office for deputies for their events just for that reason. It gets pretty dicey over there when they're
Especially during
when they're
fall
full.
season, and you pick an Apple, and they've just got both sides of the road that.
and people are parking in both
crossing
parking
and-
lots, and they're parking on the road.
Yes.
And people are still flying down there like at 50. I just, yeah.
Correct. And even if you want to take out, again, the sight distance issue, you could do the crosswalk down further towards that parking lot to the east there on the north side of the road. That will eliminate your sight distance issue from the hill that's on the west side of the road here.
And I say we are installing sidewalks along the whole south side so that even if you were parked in either parking lot, you could walk down the road and then, cross at that location. So ultimately, it'll be up to the county. They've got to look at it. They've got to look at the warrants for it. I just said that's something, since we are looking at sidewalks already in the area, one, I think that'll be helpful to get people off the shoulder of the road, to make it safer for people to walk to and from Schutz, or if they're parking, in the area to get, down the street, but, something that county will take a look at. So again, just informational, but we do have a little bit of tie to this with our sidewalk project.
How are you getting across the culvert?
I'm looking to extend the culvert.
Oh, really?
The DEC is not quite there with me yet on that. But yes,
It's on a skew too, isn't it?
it is on a skew.
Yeah.
So it is you've run me down a road here.
No,
but
I don't want to, that's off topic.
I got one comment. It's a
I
three
know
by,
a little bit about it.
it's a 3x5 culvert that was replaced in 2009.
Yep.
The DEC would like a 10-foot wide culvert extension on to the end of a 5-foot wide box. I'll let whoever at home do the math and figure that one out, but that's been the request. So I don't know quite how those married together and what the benefit of that is, but we're working on it. So we've done our wetland delineation there. That part's completed. We do have a joint app into the DEC. The Army Corps has signed off, but the DEC still has questions, so we're working hopefully through the winter on that, get our permit, and then we will be hopefully extending that box culvert out so then the sidewalk can pass over much more easily than being on the shoulder of the road.
Okay. I didn't want to derail the meeting, that's fine.
No, it's a timely question. Anything else on shoots? Again, outside our jurisdiction, we just wanted to highlight the committee as we get these in and make the public aware that, at least the group's aware of it. We do have one held item. I think this is one we've not heard further from the Woodfield neighbors. So my proposal is to take it out of held for now. I don't think based on our discussions with them, they didn't come back with any further requests, responses. Hopefully, they were working with the local, I don't say dispensaries, but the local fishing places, that sell worms, not to propose that they were working on apps. I think those are a better avenue than just posting no parking signs just in front of the pond. I think is going to move the problem over. So I propose we take it out of held, basically say we're not inclined to put the signs in at this time, and then when and if they want to come back, they're always welcome. It's not a say a rejection, but just I don't see a benefit of keeping it in our held items if we don't have any more data to take action on at this time. So if everybody's okay with that, just wanted to talk about it and then take it
that
off
makes
the agenda.
sense.
Yes.
Okay. So that's all the items we had. Anybody have any new business to discuss tonight?
I don't have new business, but I noticed on Plank Road near the school, Plank Road North and South, the traffic pattern at 7:30 a.m. seems a lot less. Did they change the time that the kids are going to school or something?
I don't know. I know I've had some conversations with the principal at Plank South. They made us aware that the RRFB that's there, the flashing beacon, was out of service. So when we took a look at that, they have requested a crossing guard. That's something I know that the town and the school are looking at. Last I knew, the Webster School security was going to, handle that portion of it, but we did at least replace the RFB. We thought it was the battery. It ended up being the unit or some module in the unit burned out, so we changed that. I know the school district is looking at plans to adjust internal circulation similar to the high school. I know the high school, they rerouted where the parents drop off to make it a longer queuing length. So I don't know if that's benefited. I know they were staggering school starts, so north and south didn't start at the same time.
It's
Quite
crazy there.
dramatic, but it's
So-
quite dramatic from last.
Okay, so they may be doing some things on their side that have helped with that. But yeah, I haven't had any conversations about that, but I just most recently was about the flashing beacon and, some concerns it was out. I think a city bus went by, there was a near miss with a student there, so, thankfully everybody's okay, but, I know safety's been a big concern, in that area as well. So that's been one of the biggest concerns is getting cars off the road, out of the way, because the cars are lined up on both sides. Somebody presses the flashers. You still can't see a kid on a bike or somebody crossing now between cars coming out in the road, and, people don't pay enough attention to the flashing beacons. They're going off, and people just ignore them and drive through.
How they
So
don't even
there's some-
pay attention to school bus things and.
Yeah, so obviously there needs to be some education on all of that for the public, but yeah, it's good information to know that there's been a noted benefit. So next time I speak with the principal, I'll talk to her and ask if anything's changed or what they've done, but at least it's noticed. So with no new business, our next meeting is January 20th. So as we'd stated previously, I believe the Collier's Engineering will be coming back with some of their recommendations at that point. So this is out of our active transportation plan. They'll be coming back at that meeting to share some additional information and share some recommendations from the plan for us, as well as any other items, requests we get from the public in the meantime. So with that, we will close this meeting at 5:29 p.m. Thanks all for coming.